I want to go thematically in general in the future, but today I'm going to start out with a couple of questions. The main point of today I want to talk about is, what is the role of love life in your life? You know, what's purpose does it serve? How does it serve us? Why do we want it? What's the point, right? Or as some like to ask, what the hell? What the hell? Like, what's it all about? You know, part of, I think that's one of the biggest blind spots in love relationships, is that we think they're the place you get to rest, right? We decide that relationships are the place we get to finally rest and relax and finally have ease and comfort and sort of relaxation and where we just simply get to be happy, right? But it comes with a lot of other stuff as well. I think those things can be true. You can get all of that in a relationship, you really can, but only along with challenges. And the challenges don't even have to be negative challenges, but the challenges will be there because the challenges are the point of love. You know, you get the goodie, you get the rewards of it, otherwise we wouldn't sign up for it. You know, we do get this kind of magic, and especially when the romance starts. There's nothing like that, and we only get it a few times in a lifetime. That true romantic spark with someone is rare, you know. That's also, I think, a good thing to remember for you seekers of love, that, you know, you're not failing if you're not finding him yet. You're not failing, you're not, you know, washed up, or, you know, it's just timing, and it's rare, you know. You could date 5,000 guys on Match.com, and if he's not among them, you're not going to have a spark with any of them, and then you're going to feel like a loser because you want to have 5,000 dates with 5,000 different guys, and none of them worked out, and what's wrong with you? But if he's not among the ones that you're dating, then, you know, it's just not going to happen. It's rare. You know, you get it a few times in a lifetime. If you're lucky, that spark we're looking for is hard to find, and you don't find it by going down your list and ruling out, right? You know, the story of, people find love on the internet, and I'm all for that. You meet your person wherever you're meant to meet them, but the key is you'll be meant to meet them. And you're not going to find the guy by shopping. That's, you know, you're not going to get him by shopping. You know, love has mystery involved in it. It has divinity involved in it. It has, you know, otherworldly aspects to it. It's like anything creative, like having a child. It's God-given. It's something to do with the universe and forces that are much stronger than our willpower, right? I mean, that's one of my favorite slogans, is that love is, of course, stronger than your willpower. We therapists will tell you should exercise more willpower in your love life, right? Or Women's Studies 101, psychologists, your parents, your friends, they'll all tell you to exercise more willpower. You know, why are you with this guy? He blah, blah, blah. But love will dictate. Your feelings will dictate. And if love beckons, you'll follow. You just will. It has nothing to do with your willpower. And you'll follow, and what you're following is basically God's lead, you know, which takes me to the second issue that I want to discuss today, which is kind of what is love, the what is love question, to not answer that question because it can't be answered, but to grapple with what it is we're wanting in the first place. You know, what is it we're hungering for, right? Can we even identify what it is that we want, and is what we want possible to achieve from a romantic relationship? You know, sometimes I wonder if what we're really longing for is the home, right? The like heaven, right? Our true home. Like, what we're really longing for is feeling that connection we'll feel after we die, right? That's really what's missing. And love doesn't fill that void, right? Romantic partnerships don't actually fill that void. That's why they become so disappointing, because you expected to feel like you did in your state of divinity, which was blissful and euphoric, and, you know, but you don't, because the darkness seeps in. Another thing Marianne Williamson said in the essay that I was reading today was that she believes that when you fall into romance, which are two different things, right? Falling in love and falling into romantic, you know, those romantic feelings are different than the love, right? She believes that the love really begins after the romantic part dwindles. But she actually believes that when we fall into that romantic ardor with somebody, and it's meaningful, you know, the kind you only get a few times in a lifetime. I'm not talking about crushes and infatuations, but those real deals, the kind that really matter to us and that we remember for years to come, that's when we're actually in our divine state. That's actually seeing people accurately, as opposed to what we learn, right, which is the jaded view, that the romantic stuff is an illusion and then reality sets in. You know, reality sets in at the point at which you start seeing the person's flaws, right? Marianne Williamson teaches that you're seeing them rightly when you're overlooking their flaws, and when you're, you know, and that our job in love is to continue to sustain seeing that person through those sacred eyes, right? That seeing the person, seeing the beloved, seeing the partner through the eyes of sacredness, through eyes of love and light rather than through darkness, is our challenge and our task when we're in a relationship. Like, that's our assignment. That's the point of a relationship, is to forgive the other person constantly, to constantly be forgiving them for their darkness, for their flaws, for their inevitable flaws. And also to be doing the same thing for yourself, to be forgiving yourself and healing yourself. And then what happens to us as the party in the relationship is that we're on a healing journey, right? And that's what love does. Love, bless you.
Thank you.
Love literally brings up, right? It brings to the fore whatever it is within us that sort of needs to be presented. Have any of you had that feeling of feeling so good about yourself while you're single? You know, you really feel like you're in this sort of self-mastery, and then you stumble into a relationship, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was so...
The shadows come up.
The shadows come up. Your own
come
shadows.
up.
They do. Yeah. Your very own shadows suddenly come up. Oh, I didn't realize I was so edgy, testy, intolerant. Like, whatever might come up for you. Relationships, in my experience, I've always been surprised each and every time at the parts of me that awaken in the face of love and partnership. That I thought I was so cool. So, you know. So fabulous. You know, I like the woman I've become. And then love presents itself, and you're confronted with these aspects of yourself that go along with the beauty and the magic and the divinity of love, right? That's why you sign up for it. But it always brings that side. The healing, the need to forgive the other, the need to see them through the eyes of light rather than darkness. And then that's also how you sustain a positive relationship. Not by finding that perfect person who doesn't challenge and test you, because that actually doesn't happen in a contract. This person represents a spiritual assignment that you have to, you have to master. You have to pass this test, and then yes, you get to move on to a different class, perhaps a class you prefer. I have a woman in my client practice who's really hating this relationship she's in. She's just in this nightmare of her own making, and I just keep telling her it's like, her version of sort of an astrophysics class, when what she really loves is art, like God's put her, she can't leave it. Like it's a karmic contract, and it'll run its course one way or another sooner than later. But meanwhile, I'm like, it's just a class you don't like, she's tried to leave him, he's tried to leave her, it's not happening, it's karmic, Again, these things have power of their own, right? They have a life of their own. They're not a matter of willpower. You can't just extricate yourself from these things through willpower, which I think gives credence to when we get obsessed and when we get intense crushes. They're real. They're real, and they're legitimate, and they happen to us. None of us would choose it, would we? I mean, it's so frustrating when we get hooked on somebody. It's nothing that we would choose. But part of then the challenge becomes hanging in there when the going gets tough. Not against all reason, but just to kind of not get fussy and picky. Oh, I don't like how they do this, that, or the other, I think they're wrong for me. I'm going to find someone who's better for me, when the whole point, there really isn't necessarily anyone better for you, as long as you do have that romantic phase. That's the key, is that you actually go through that that initial phase. Because if you don't if you don't have that, which is another way of saying if you don't have love, you can't cultivate it. You can't cultivate love in a relationship. not the kind of love that would be safe in the face of true love presenting itself, right? So for instance, say you settle, right? You settle for somebody who you don't have that sort of who doesn't have that romantic grip on you. You won't be bulletproofed against falling in love with someone else. You know, when love beckons, you'll follow. That's why people wind up in all of these bizarre situations all the time, right? Things people wouldn't choose.